What was Jesus like? I'm curious. Was he cool?
Hollywood has brainwashed many Americans, even Christians.
Scully?
Mulder?
Father Joe claims a psychic connection.
So you believe in these sort of things?
Let's just say I want to believe.
Don't give up.
You see them?
I see eyes staring out. My visions were God's work.
Maybe it's not God doing the sending.
For the first time in human history, the splicing of human DNA was successful.
This is illegal. We're gonna go to jail for this.
Human cloning is illegal. This won't be human, not entirely.
The British tabloid newspaper, the Daily Mail, did an article on Monday, February the 2nd, 1998, which read on its front page that more Britons believe in the paranormal than believe in God. What contributed to this transition in society? The article confirms that the findings show that, fueled by the success of TV shows such as The X-Files, acceptance of the paranormal has moved into the mainstream of intellectual life. So the secular journal confirms that entertainment, which is really edutainment, has been one of the contributing factors that has opened the door into the occult and a rejection of God.
Make no mistakes, every movie you see is an indoctrination technique employed by Hollywood, working on behalf of Satan to influence your thoughts and actions. You are being convinced to accept what you would normally oppose or reject what you once believed to be true. This video is part 1 of the exposition of Hollywood's agenda to reshape America. We will take a deeper look at how Hollywood is working tirelessly and clandestinely to erase the God of the Bible from the minds of Americans, especially the younger generation. The America we know today might not be the same again soon. Be sure to stick around until the end.
Beyonce uses her body and teaches young girls, like in the film Aladdin, that to get far in life, you use your body to become successful. And in 2003, the London newspaper called The Sun interviewed her, and she said that God has given her permission to strip on stage, but it gets worse. One of her albums is called I Am. A number of years before that, in the late 1990s, the rapper Nazir Jones, better known as Nas, also titled his album I Am. Christina Aguilera also has titled her album I Am. Who is the great I Am? Before Abraham was I Am, he was declaring that he was the one who was speaking to Moses at the burning bush. So we see that the deity of Jesus is under major attack.
Corporate acquisitions, accumulations of wealth, build with the gods and double knowledge yourself.
You must feel the force around you. Here, between you, me, the tree, the rock, everywhere. Yes, even between the land and the ship.
Jesus is not like God. He is not close to God. He is not almost God. Jesus is God.
According to research by Barna Group, among Gen Z, born between 1999 and 2015, rates of church attendance, religious affiliation, belief in God, prayer, and Bible reading have been dropping for decades. Compared to their counterparts a few decades ago, young adults today are more violent and less content with life. What are the consequences? High rate of depression and suicide. According to Business Insider, suicide is Gen Z's second leading cause of death. The suicide rate for people aged 10 to 24 increased by 56% between 2007 to 2017, according to new data from the CDC. When you take God out of private and public life, by default, you replace him with something else. Hollywood, being directly influenced by Satan, is filling that void, and it's not looking good for America and the world at large. Atheism, Satanism, witchcraft, and paganism are rising in America. By the way, Aubrey Plaza is the person who voiced Laura, the mother of the Antichrist, in a sitcom Little Demon, and we covered that in this video.
I love that we are normalizing paganism. Laura is a pagan. She's a witch. She's jacked. She's got to protect her daughter from demons. And she's got to get her house in order.
Please help us spread biblical truth. Subscribe and enable the bell icon to be notified when we publish new weekly videos. Like and share our videos. God bless you. The Bible warns in 2 Corinthians 2, verse 11, that we should not be ignorant of the devices of the devil, Satan. Sadly, many people, even some professing Christians, are beginning to doubt or outright deny that Satan exists.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world
I know he's here.
he didn't exist.
If you think that we are being overreactive about Hollywood using movies to implant in the minds of Americans the idea that humans can, in fact, become gods and thus don't need God, watch this.
Kurzweil, I'm an inventor, author, and futurist, and I invite you to join me at Global Future 2045 completely. We'll also have non-biological bodies. We can create bodies with nanotechnology. We can create, in addition to radical life extension, we're going to have radical life expansion.
The concept is to drive these remotely controlled bodies called avatars. They're grown from human DNA, mixed with DNA of the natives.
Marine in an avatar body. That's a potent mix.
Looks like you. This is your avatar.
We're gonna put a man inside a machine.
Time to wake him up. I never asked for this. The year is 2027. It's a time of great innovation.
Did you catch that? 2045, the year man becomes immortal? This is the seed of deception Hollywood plants in people's minds, including many professing Christians. It gets even worse. Hollywood is fostering the seeds of doubt and denial regarding God's existence through its movies, even going so far as to undermine the Bible.
It taught man to go back to the pagan religions of old to find out who they really are. It also taught that mankind was not created by the creator God in heaven, but by these beings called the engineers. And just like many other films, it makes a complete attack on the Bible, totally discrediting the whole plan of salvation.
At this moment in our civilization, we can create cybernetic individuals who, in just a few short years, will be completely indistinguishable from us. Which leads to an obvious conclusion. We are the gods now.
It's time for a man to use absolute power for the cause of ultimate peace. It's time for a man to rid the world of conflict and allow all men and women, young and old, to live in tranquility. It is time for man to become God where God has failed.
The world doesn't need a savior.
Sir, I don't think God really cared too much about us. Or he wouldn't have put us here. I mean, look where we stay at.
You don't have any belief, boy. The Lord don't care about who's got the biggest house.
My grandpa was always coming at us with that religion. And every time, he would go in one ear and out the other.
Yo, man, you believe in God?
There ain't no God.
The Bible says, for better or for worse. Then maybe the Bible's wrong.
Although he lived for just 32 years, Bruce Lee influenced modern Hollywood movies, and he incorporated his pagan god into his films.
Lee Jun-fan, better known as Bruce Lee, is considered as one of the most influential martial artists of all time, who synthesized Eastern and Western thought into his own philosophy. And though he died at the young age of 32 in 1973, his impact is still felt throughout the entertainment industry till this very day.
DreamWorks Kung Fu Panda.
You guys, did you see that? I just was like, what?
While many may think that Asian martial arts is just a fighting technique for self-defense, it is a religion whose iconic emblem is the dragon. The humanist nature worship concepts that are in George Lucas's Star Wars has the same roots of Eastern philosophy as Asian martial arts. The most dominant one is Buddhism.
While many Americans, especially Christians, are busy getting entertained, Satan is busy pulling out the strings that hold the fabric of Christian homes, schools, government, and society.
Most, if not all, of the martial art superstars are practicing Buddhists. Jet Li, Steven Seagal, Jackie Chan, Keanu Reeves, and Michelle Yeoh. But it was Bruce Lee who opened the door of Asian martial art into Western culture, and his philosophy, Jeet Kune Do, still continues with his student Danny Inosanto, who teaches choreography from many of the top films and trained many actors in martial arts such as Denzel Washington in the film The Book of Eli. In his own essay entitled A Moment of Understanding, he said, quote, "Gung Fu is a special kind of skill. The core of this principle of Gung Fu is Teo, the spontaneity of the universe. This belief in the universe is a new fad among young socialites and pagans in the West, as well as among secular scientists, both cosmologists and naturalists.
Primary focus in the immediate future, meaning the next couple of years, is Avatar 2 and Avatar 3, and that speaks more to my environmental concerns.
It's time to wake up, America. Hopefully, you're beginning to see how Hollywood movies and music permeate American culture. As Hollywood gains more ground, more Americans, especially younger ones, will see no need for God and turn to the universe, energy, environment, or self as gods. This is all made possible partly because a nation that claims to be Christian embraces and supports Hollywood. Today, several Christians think it is okay and acceptable for Christians to celebrate Halloween, and we covered that in this video. If you want to watch that video, we'll leave the link in the description.
One of the modern phenomena is an occult practice called either psychokinesis or telekinesis, where individuals believe that they have the power to move objects with their brain. This was once seen as witchcraft, and the 1976 film Carrie opened the door to this art. But now this film has been rebooted, and very cunningly, the Christian mother is made to look like a fanatic and a freak, but the occult is portrayed as a door to freedom and liberation.
That's not even in the Bible. It doesn't say that anywhere. Go to your closet and pray. No. Pray. No! You pray, little girl. You pray. If I concentrate hard enough, I can make things move. There are other people out there like me who can do what I can do.
Watch this.
How else has Hollywood exposed America to Eastern religion, which is diametrically opposed to Christianity?
My name is Russell Simmons. I'm a yogi.
Can you speak to yoga's ability to transform young people's lives and transform communities?
Yoga can transform communities, individuals, the world. Individuals first, communities second, in the world. I love about yogic philosophy. It doesn't contradict anything that's taught in science.
The idea of yoga is a spiritual practice, and the idea, y'all Christians, some of y'all? I'm just living, you just living, right? So this idea...
Hip-hop mogul Russell Simmons teaches yoga to an up-and-coming hip-hop group, Mellow High. And interestingly, before the session, he asked them if they were Christian. For as the Bible, especially in the book of Psalms, teaches to meditate upon the word of God, Simmons believes in the Hindu philosophy of Atman, which is praying or meditating to yourself, or as 50 Cent said, knowledge of self.
How did yoga become so popular in America today that it is taught in schools and widely practiced by many Americans?
This fad has swept the Western world, but who introduced it and what does it teach? Russian mystic Madame Helena Petrovna Blavatsky, who is considered as one of the pioneers who spearheaded the New Age movement, introduced and spread the Eastern philosophies of yoga through her Theosophical Society. But it was revived under both Bruce Lee, who taught his Eastern philosophy to many of the top actors in Hollywood, and through the musical group called the Beatles, one of the most powerful vehicles of Eastern philosophy, who introduced yoga to a younger generation in the hippie movement. From this seal dating back to the earliest civilization in India in Mohenjo-daro, you can see a horned yogi. But what is yoga? According to volume 23 of the 1973 Encyclopedia Britannica, it reads, Yoga, originally one of the 6 systems of Indian philosophy. Hatha Yoga is based on a fantastic physiological theory teaching the existence of a dormant divine potency called Kundalini, the serpent power, at the base of the spine. The aim of the yogi, according to this system, should be to raise the feminine Kundalini through the vein Sushumna from one chakra to another until at last it unites with the masculine Sahasrara when full salvation is achieved. So yoga philosophy is that salvation can be achieved through your own self by invoking the serpent power within.
Everybody loves Jesus as long as you don't define who he is. As long as you don't get into the nitty-gritty of what it means for Jesus to be the Son of God. Listen, if Jesus is just a good man and a good teacher, even a good prophet, he is completely acceptable. Mormons and Muslims alike love Jesus. Hindus and Buddhists are very happy with Jesus, as long as he's just a teacher who offers sage wisdom, then Jesus is fine. But the minute you step across that line and argue that Jesus is more than prophet, more than teacher, that he is actually God incarnate, God with us, now all of a sudden, those who were more than willing to gather with you scatter. Because everybody loves Jesus as long as you don't define.
One of the ways Hollywood has attempted to make God irrelevant is by making people think or believe they are gods. If you think you're a god, you would not be inclined to obey or listen to the God of the universe. Is it possible that Hollywood influenced many New Age false preachers who claim to be gods?
Clarence 13X founded the 5% movement and taught black men what Satan told Eve in Genesis chapter 3 and verse 5, that ye are gods, he said. Some of the biggest names in rap have embraced the 5% philosophy of Clarence 13X. And while these blacks call it black consciousness, it is really black foolishness, for it is no different to any other modern day pagan fad. Just look at this photo of him, and you can see a dark, miserable, and empty soul. And what is his philosophy from his satanic church? He says, Satanism is about worshipping yourself.
Revelation 12 describes how Satan was thrown out of heaven for the sin of pride and disobedience. Sadly, Hollywood believes the Bible is wrong. Several Hollywood movies and music portray Lucifer or Satan as the good guy who, a mean and cruel God, unjustly punished.
We're seeing that Satan is trying to make people look like he was the victim. And we're seeing in films like Dogma, it is completely ridiculing the fall of Lucifer. We see this album by a singer called Jim Steinman. It shows an angel looking up to heaven. It has a musical instrument in his hand with chains being lifted off. And it says he will be bad for good. Kanye West did a video called Runway, it was for over half an hour. And it shows an angel falling from heaven, which represents Lucifer. And it shows Kanye West looking after this angel, grooming it back to health, eventually glamorizing this angel, falling in love with it and almost worshiping it. And then this angel can now go back into heaven? That's blasphemy. Totally mocking the whole plan.
Who else mocks Jesus and the Bible? The man who gets Bishop T.D. Jakes slain in the spirit after giving $1 million to Mr. Jakes.
The Bible says that when little baby Jesus was born, he was born to the Virgin Mary, J. Blige.
There is something about the name Jesus that makes Hollywood uncomfortable. Jesus saves. He transforms sinners into saints. Hollywood doesn't like that and wants to prevent people from knowing that Jesus saves.
In Colossians, he makes it clear that the fullness of the Godhead dwelled in him bodily. The triune God makes this clear at the baptism of Jesus. Jesus, the Son, is baptized. And when Jesus, God the Son, is baptized, God the Father speaks from heaven and says, "This is my beloved Son in whom I am well pleased." So God the Father declares that the one being baptized is God the Son, and God the Spirit descends upon him in the form of a dove. We have God here in the fullness of time. God is executing a plan exactly when the plan is supposed to be executed, and this time is significant because of the very nature of the plan. And the nature of the plan is that God will send God.
When Hollywood's attempt to replace Jesus with paganism and satanic self-worship fails, they resort to mocking him.
A couple of years ago, a song came out called Empire State of Mind by the rapper Jay-Z and the singer Alicia Keys. And in one of the verses, he said, "Jesus can't save you. Life starts when the church ends." And we are seeing a systematic attack upon the resurrection and the death of Jesus Christ, where man is openly saying, "I do not want what you have to offer." And we're seeing the biggest names in the industry are teaching a generation that you do not need Christ. You can do it on your own. One of the biggest names in the music industry is Pharrell Williams. Pharrell Williams was interviewed in GQ Style magazine, and listen to what he says. He says, "I believe in God and the universe, and that those are synonymous, that they are basically the same thing. I'm no theologian. On paper, I'm a Christian, but really I'm a universalist. I believe there are many different routes to a destination. Rather than looking to God to redeem you, it teaches man that the superheroes now come out of their retirement, and now the superheroes must save mankind and not God."
Unfortunately, many Christians are setting their affection on things of the earth rather than on things of heaven. However, the more you crave for more of Jesus and things about God, the less you long for the fleeting pleasures of this life.
The English critic John Russell Taylor said that film is a way of controlling people, a weapon in the battle of life.
Don't be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. We'll see you in part 2 of the exposition of Hollywood's agenda to reshape America.